Good morning, third grade mystery readers. I wish you all were here sitting on the rug so that we could talk about how you're doing with mystery books. I'm not sure how many of you are into mystery books like before we started this. Maybe this is new for you, but maybe you've always been interested in mystery books. And I'm wondering if you've learned in this unit how you are supposed to read a bit differently than you would read another fiction book. Let me say that again. Have you noticed yourself reading differently because it's a mystery book than if it was just a regular fiction book? A mystery book is a fiction book, but it's a different genre. And because it's a mystery book, we've talked about ways and strategies that you are supposed to use as you read a mystery book. So I'm going to call on Ben. I'm going to call on three people here. Ben, could you tell your learning partner something that you've either learned to do this unit because it's a mystery book, or something that you've always done as a reading strategy because it's a mystery book? Ben, what do you think? Have you noticed a strategy? And next, Zoe. Zoe, can you tell your learning partner what have you noticed that you need to do to effectively read a mystery book? What strategies are you using as a reader of a mystery book? Okay. And finally, Micah. Micah, could you tell your learning partner what have you been using? What strategies do mystery readers need to use? I hope you guys said something like, well, I have to read more closely. Some of you might say, I need to slow down and pay attention to details. Maybe some of you said, oh, sometimes I'm rereading because I think I missed something that was important. So being a more careful, active reader hopefully is something that you guys are doing. I know a lot of you like to read really fast and get through the book, but in a mystery book, that can really hurt you. And you go over some small clues that the author has stuck in there. Maybe you get tricked by a red herring, which we talked about yesterday, and it kind of tricked you into thinking that you understood the mystery better. But today, you guys, I want to talk about something different. I'm wondering if any of you are reading. Hopefully you've read a book so far and you're on to another book or two. I'm wondering if any of you are reading a book from a series of books. You know, my favorite mysteries as a kid were the Hardy Boys, and there's hundreds. There's over 100 different Hardy Boy books. The book that we're reading now for our read aloud, Hank the Cowdog, was good. Today's read aloud is really awesome, by the way. But Hank the Cowdog is a series with lots of books in the series of Hank the Cowdog. So when you read a book from a series, it actually can be easier for you because you get to know the characters really well. You don't have to be introduced to a new character every new book, and you know the character's strengths and weaknesses. You may even know some of the secondary characters. For example, Drover, we know is a sidekick. In today's reading, you're going to learn about a challenger to both Drover and Hank. I don't know if he's going to stay in the book or not, but it's a really funny long chapter for today's read aloud. But when you read a series, now how about last year? Did you guys read Encyclopedia Brown last year? Encyclopedia Brown has the sidekick, friend of Sally. How about Nate the Great? Nate the Great. His sidekick was his dog Sludge, and so you get to know these characters, and often it helps you because you've picked up on this character's strengths and weaknesses. Also, you get to learn about the author's style. You may say, "Oh, I know this author. He likes to put some red herrings in there. He likes to talk about what people are wearing a lot," for example. And you get to know their style and the tricks that they can play. Here's an example that you might remember from last year if you read Encyclopedia Brown. There was a book called Encyclopedia Brown Cracks the Case. I don't know if you guys remember that from last year. But in the first chapter, onions are mentioned a lot. And you may say, well, that's kind of weird. Why is the author always talking about onions? When an author does that, you may say, hey, something's going to be up with onions. I'm going to pick up on that and predict that onions are going to come up in this story more and more, and it's going to help me solve the mystery. And those are not there by accident. There's no coincidence. The author may say, I'm going to use objects. I'm going to use objects that pop up. I think in 4th grade you're going to read a book called Tiger Rising. And I remember in that book, an object that keeps getting repeated is a suitcase. A suitcase that's in someone's apartment. And yes, later on it does become a real important clue. So as you read series, you're going to notice the style that these authors use. Maybe, like I said, they may use clothing. They may talk about a lot about what characters are wearing, objects, things like that. So think about that today as you spend your 20 to 30 minutes reading. Remember to do some writing about your reading, about your thinking. I hope you guys have some nice charts filled in. I hope you're starting to be familiar with these words, because here's our plan. I think next week we're going to continue to finish one more week. I think we might only have 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to do regular schoolwork. I think Friday will be a specials day. So right now I'm thinking that I want to do one more week of mystery reading, and then I want to go into a shift of changing from more reading to writing. That doesn't mean that you can't keep reading mystery books, but I told you that at the beginning of this unit, we are going to then practice a new type of writing, which is writing our own mystery. And by reading these mysteries, you get the idea of how an author sets up writing a mystery. So we will be doing that in the future. Let me know what you think about that. I could be persuaded to let you go a little bit longer on mystery reading, but pretty soon we are going to be writing a mystery, and we're going to be using these things. I'm going to want you to make a list of characters that you're going to have in your story. I'm going to want you to use the vocabulary. I'm going to want you, before you start writing, I'm going to want you to make a list of secondary characters that you're going to have in there and what their role is going to be. So we're going to talk about that in the future. So right now, find a nice quiet place to read, relax, and start to notice some of the patterns that you may see, especially if you're reading a series. And remember, let's not read fast. Let's read carefully and pay attention to details and the author's style of writing. What should I pay attention to? What do I notice this author doing? All right, have a good day of reading and learning. And like I said, don't forget to fill in some Post-its, put some thoughts down. Maybe you'll be thinking of right now you'll be thinking, ooh, I got an idea for a mystery. It wouldn't hurt to start writing down some ideas on some Post-its or in your notebook. All right, see you later.